Welcome to Southern California, the forefront of the electric vehicle revolution in the United States of America. It's been said that EVs are basically soulless appliances on the road, and since my friend Yi recently took delivery of his Lucid Air Touring, well, I thought it would be a good idea to hear what his thoughts were after a few weeks living with it. We decided to meet in LA to find out if his love affair with the Air has only deepened or if the honeymoon phase is slowly coming to an end.
Okay, so the plan for today is we're gonna go on a drive up to Malibu. Mike and I are gonna get some coffee, hang out for a bit, talk about the car. But first things first, I gotta go pick up Michael.
In case you're not aware, Lucid Motors is a relatively new player in the EV category. However, they have been making waves in the automotive industry thanks to the innovation of their highly efficient electric luxury sedan, the Air. The company was founded in 2007, and they're on a mission to redefine luxury electric cars and set new standards for performance and sustainability. Their flagship model and first product, the Lucid Air, is a true marvel of engineering, boasting breathtaking acceleration, a luxurious and spacious interior, and really impressive driving range.
What's up, man?
Yo, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. So the plan is pretty simple, but I think you're gonna love it.
Okay.
We're gonna be driving up PCH to Malibu. All right. And then we'll maybe grab some coffee, maybe grab a bite to eat, and then we'll take the car into the canyons. The canyons in Malibu. We're gonna thrash the car around. Let's go. Well, first we gotta charge the car.
Oh, you son of a...
When you step inside the Lucid Air for the first time, it's clear that there is a lot of attention to detail in terms of the materials, the fit and finish, and just generally how everything feels and is cohesive within the car itself. From the amazing dashboard to the center console screen to the seats and the colors and the two-tone interior, everything just feels like it goes together. When you compare this car against a Model S, then you really start to see how different these cars truly are. In the Model S, it's very simple, whereas in the Lucid, there are screens in places that you want them, and there are buttons in places where you need them.
I think sitting as a passenger in the Air is almost just as enjoyable as driving it. You get to really appreciate the ride quality and the serenity of the cabin. Touch points feel great, and the overall cabin has an expensive vibe, yet feels quite restrained.
The car that I missed, the Honda Fit, I had that. A white one and a manual, which is actually quite rare, I found out. Seriously, that car would not break no matter what I did.
Malibu country.
Where the rich come to play.
And charge.
I saw probably 29 lemons in there.
Holy shit.
Of all sorts of colors, makes, trims. Oh, look at that.
So we're gonna find a spot for this $100,000 car.
Okay, so the thing is, we want to charge the car, but clearly all the spots are taken up right now. So we can't charge there, obviously, because those are Tesla superchargers. And this is the thing, right? It's like, it's so rare to ever have like you arrive and you can charge experience.
Now, at this point, we could have stuck around and tried to wait for a charging station, but we did have enough range to just go ahead and drive around the canyons, and so I figured instead of waiting and just sitting around, why not head to the canyons, do some driving first, then we can come back and see if a charger opens up. But spoiler alert, nothing opened up, and we just said, screw it.
This is a really
That's
interesting color.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hate it.
No, I don't either.
Most practical place to store.
Okay, so pizza.
Pizza.
Does this have enough storage space for pizza?
It's like, it gets
Since we couldn't hang out at any of the charging stations, eating a light meal before driving along canyon roads seemed like the next best choice. One thing I often forget is how convenient it is to have a large and usable frunk, something that, surprisingly, not all EVs have. After some chit-chat, we decided to see if the Air feels at home in the canyons as it does sitting in LA traffic.
As in, like, I don't do long distance drives, And so a lot of my driving is all around the neighborhood, basically I would say with like a 10-mile radius. So I haven't had to charge the car that much, and charging is like a whole other thing that we can get into later. Driving the city, driving on the highway, like through LA traffic, this car just feels so relaxing. Like right now we're in a canyons in Malibu, but we're going here and it's easy cruising. I'm in the fastest mode right now. I've yet to really put this through its paces, and so we're gonna find out together how this handles in the canyons. But for everyday driving, it is honestly such a relaxing car.
I'm aware that we're going quite fast. You know you're going through the twisties at a fast pace, but it still feels relaxed. I know that sounds weird.
No, it feels extremely relaxed.
Right?
I've driven this Canyon many times. I've ridden it in different sports cars. And this is different for sure. Like I'm not gonna thrash it like a 911, but at the same time, I don't know, like if I was trying to follow a 911, I don't think I'd be that far behind. So I'll be honest, I think in terms of my throttle, I don't think I've gone past 50%. Yeah. I've got a little bit of straight here. Damn.
Oh, that still gets me.
Yeah. It's interesting too, I've never done a canyon drive with such high regen braking before. I'd never really used like the highest amount of regen when I drove my Model 3 back in the day. Driving it now, I'm actually not really using the brakes because as I approach a corner, I just let go and it automatically just brakes for me. This car has become our daily driver. During the week, we work from home. Well, maybe we go out to buy some groceries or run some errands. And so this car really does actually get that much mileage, but it is still the daily driver nonetheless. And everyone that's gotten this car has thought, like, wow, this car is phenomenal. I think the backseat's the best place to be in this car. And I'm very jealous that I don't get to spend my time back there.
Whenever people step into the car itself, specifically the back seats, that's when they're really blown away. I've had the chance to take around quite a few friends in the Lucid already, and their first impression when they get in the back seat is, wow, there's so much space here. On top of that, with a glass canopy, it just feels extremely airy. The doors themselves even curve outwards from your seating position. What that means is it even feels like the door itself is moving away from you so that you have even more space to sit in the car and relax. Something that Lucid was able to accomplish with the Air was the ability to provide the same amount of interior space as an S-Class Mercedes, while only having the length of an E-Class.
We did a little spirited driving just now, and now we're gonna just cruise back down the canyon. And the reason for that being, the original plan was to go charge first before we enter the canyons. That way we had a lot of juice to go through. But in classic EV charging fashion, there were no spots available. And one, you just have absolutely no idea how long it's going to take before a spot opens up. Two, the charging station was tiny. There are only 4 slots there, and usually at least one of those slots is broken. We decided, hey, let's just go into the canyons first, do some driving, and then we can stop by the charger on the way home. But it does mean that we're kind of limited in terms of how much we can really push the car here, because we still need to be able to make it back to the charging station. I've charged this car twice at a Electrify America charging station. And without fail, both times, I have spent upwards of 15, if not 20 minutes troubleshooting, calling support, upplugging and unplugging, all sorts of stupid shit to try and charge this car. And I've never, ever seen this car get the max potential charging speed. But like, if most of your customers are having a hard time using your charging station, what that means is that issue just compounds. Everyone else that follows is also like messing around with the charger. Okay, I will say the weird side effect to this that's kind of funny is you build this camaraderie with the other EV owners.
How fast does it take to charge if you're just plugging it in on a regular outlet?
Not fast.
Okay.
So in the past, with my Model 3, I would get 5 miles an hour of charge, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think about it, if you leave a car plugged in for 12 hours, you get a lot from that.
Yeah.
For this car in particular, I get about 3 miles an hour of charge.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember that whole thing that we were all so excited about called 5G? This car can do everything, but it's
being let down by the infrastructure.
Exactly.
And unless you put in a ton of money into developing that yourself, it's not impossible, but it takes time. And honestly, at this point, you might as well partner up to make it happen as opposed to building all yourself.
Some people have been complaining that the AC is not great, but for you living in Southern California, where it gets what? Moderately hot, I'd say.
We have the ocean that helps regulate the temperature. And so our summer temps basically I think average around 80s. And even right now, as we head into summer, we're hitting like mid 70s, maybe low 70s every day. So it's not a fair representation. And I will say, even just in Santa Monica, when I park the car outside, it gets hot in here. And I realized the AC truly does have issues. And I know it's not just me. I've looked this up. People complain about this, and it is kind of pathetic how bad it is. So in the most recent update, they actually included a new button on the dash. They now have a max AC button that was designed just for the very purpose of cooling you down a little bit easier. And eventually, once the car does cool down, like it feels fine in here. But I do feel like I always have to, like the fan's always running at a higher than normal fan speed.
Yeah.
And so what you lost in terms of regular combustion engine noise is made up with the AC. Noise. Yeah.
We attempted to stop by the same charging station on the way back, hoping that by then, some stalls would have opened up, which was not the case. But with enough battery to comfortably take us home, we started our 30-minute drive back along the busy streets of California, which turned into more like an hour of travel time thanks to traffic. But funnily enough, this is one of the areas the air shines through. It's comfortable to sit in and very relaxing even in LA traffic. It doesn't beg you to move faster, and as a matter of fact, thanks to its well-insulated cabin, the air encourages you to simply sit back and let the rest of the world shuffle along. Now, let's talk about some of the convenient features of the Air.
You know, part of the Lucid experience is basically having your phone control all the stuff. So my question to you now, how much have you used the actual key fob?
I have not used this key whatsoever. Well, actually, no, that's not true. This past weekend, I brought the key with me because I went to go visit a friend, and they had a valet. And so I'm not giving my phone, so I brought a key.
How much of the controls do you remember?
None of it. All I know is that this can do 4 things. Lock, unlock, open the frunk, and then open the trunk.
I should know this.
I should know this, and yet I don't know this.
Okay, let's start with something easy. Lock the car.
Right. Okay, hold on. Hold on. That's curious. Okay, Michael, I don't know what's happening. We're back from that snafu. Basically, I recall that there's actually an issue with the batteries draining too fast.
Oh, okay.
So I figured that was dead. So I took the other key, I paired it, and now
it should work.
Now it should work.
Okay.
So unlock 2 presses. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Good job.
There
I
you
feel
go.
like that should be on your resume.
It should be.
Open the front. And
Okay,
it's not the
I got the
front.
trunk. I got the trunk. I got the trunk. Okay, I'm gonna try something. Okay, I closed the trunk.
Now, I know it looks like we're messing around here, but I promise we're really not. What happens with EVs and these modern cars is that you don't really use your physical key anymore. And what ends up happening is when you actually have to bust out the physical key, you don't really know how to use it anymore. And this also happens because the Lucid key itself only has 1 button. Now on the back of the key, it does show you what shortcuts exist. However, we did want to try just to see if I could try to figure it out or try to remember what the instructions actually were.
1 long press.
There you go. 1
Oh.
long press for the front.
Another thing to note here is that there is quite a long delay between pressing the button and the frunk actually opening, which is why you'll see that I actually end up opening the trunk a few times on accident when I'm really trying to open the frunk.
This has not just a frunk, but you bring this up and you have a cavernous frunk. However, my beef with this is I have nowhere to store this thing. Imagine I'm like carrying something and I bring it in and I want
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And I would assume it would attach somewhere here and
you
like
can just open it.
right? But no.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only drawback, and putting this back on is like it's like an art.
It's not the most
No,
dignified
it's
thing.
not. And I'm not trying to be silly right now.
Yeah.
It's right.
So this is the trunk.
There it is. Okay.
Ah.
Okay, same issue. Exact same issue. I have this awesome cover, but I have nowhere to put it.
Nowhere to put it.
Perhaps one of the most impressive parts, because I can actually like it's like a really low load floor.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to like try to get things up.
Right.
And it's
So wide.
It is so wide. It feels a little awkward in terms of you're not used to seeing such a wide trunk. but from a practicality standpoint, incredible.
When you boil it down to just the driving feel and the sensation and using it every single day, the Lucid is a phenomenal choice. And in this case, it is my choice over the Tesla. I think it can be best summarized with my interactions that I have with people. There are a lot of people who walk by in my neighborhood and they look at the car, they ask about it, and they like to ask what's special about it, or is it worth it, and what makes it so cool. And I have a very easy time pitching the car. It's really reminiscent of when I first got my Model 3. I took Michael for a drive in it, and I didn't really need to sell him on it. You can just drive it and you'll see. This car feels the same way for that upper luxury level, where you want a more refined experience of a Tesla, and this really gives you that. I'll be honest, I didn't expect to get this car. This was not in my plan. But when I drive it, or when we take it out with friends, or when it's just me and Maggie going around doing our errands, we're always so happy with the car. Currently, in our phase of life, it does really fit our needs. We don't have kids, and that's really important here. This is not for parents with young kids. They're gonna get the car dirty, and you're gonna be scrubbing at it all the time and paranoid about trying to keep the car clean, and it's just gonna be so hard. And there's just a lot of considerations for adults who might want to get this car. If you ask me what the target audience is for this car, honestly, I'd say it's for older people. Or if you're younger and you're willing to spend money on a car for a more luxurious EV experience, then you get this car. Instead of getting a Tesla Model S Plaid, or if you don't want to go the BMW or Mercedes route, this is the best choice for you. It's unique, beautiful, luxurious, and truly fantastic to live with. And if you're in an area that happens to have a Lucid showroom nearby, I highly recommend going out and test driving it to see for yourself, because that's really the best way to understand just how great this car is.